This year on December 8th through 14th is Computer Science Awareness Week, basically, and during that week, schools across the world are hosting what's called an hour of code. Now, the lower levels at some of our schools in the Bonnie Eagle district have hosted an hour of code in the past, and I'm really hopeful that more middle school and high school teachers can jump on board this year. I've been asked by some high school teachers if I could provide some further information about how this all works. So, in order to make that happen, I actually hosted my own hour of code. So that's what this week's tutorial is all about. I'm going to show you how to sign up and then actually show you exactly what my introduction was to the class, the very first time I hosted an hour of code. And then you'll see what the process was like, and then at the end I'll wrap up with some thoughts about what went well and what we could have done better for next time. First off, you're going to go to hourofcode.com, and once you come onto that page, then you'll see that you can be a student, a teacher, or everyone, and we're going to click on Host It in order to host an hour of code in your own classroom. Once you fill this out, you're going to be all signed up, and then within there, you're going to then have a membership on code.org. Now, code.org is free, it's amazing, and your students can go through code.org on their own. As a teacher, now I already have an account, so I'm going to go to my teacher's dashboard. It is possible to do hour of code without a computer, but since our schools are one-to-one, I'm going to show you how I did it with a one-to-one environment and the hour of code course within code.org. I liked being able to use student accounts, although you don't have to use student accounts, but I liked being able to use them so that way I could see what progress the students were making within the class. So, once you are on your teacher's homepage, then you can go in, create a new account. In this case, I already have one that is open. So you'll see that I set it up with a section name. The login type, if you are a high school teacher, it can be email, but if you're middle school, I would do a word or a picture. That's simply because they do not get email from outside world at the middle school level. Then you can select what grade you're covering, as well as what course that you would like them to take. I highly recommend checking out the Hour of Code one first, although the Artist Lab would be good for example, the fine arts classes. Frozen might be fun as well. You can check them all out by going on to... Okay, so if you go on to Learn, and then you'll see that there are Hour of Code tutorials here on the very front page. So, for example, this coding with Anna and Elsa might be really popular with the middle school kids, although it is simple. It's very engaging in terms of the Disney characters. We'll look at how to do the Hour of Code one today, but there are other ones in here as well, looking at Tinker and a whole bunch of other ones, Scratch, etc. So look through them, choose which one is going to be best for you. But for the sake of argument, we'll look at the Hour of Code because I think that that's a really easy one to do. And then you can click Save. Then the students coming into it would just go to code.org and they'd be able to log in with this section code, and you'll see in the video how I went about doing that. Okay, so we're going to kick over now to see what the actual introduction portion was for the kids actually starting to do the code, and then after we introduce the subject and the kids are starting to code, I'll show you what the dashboard would actually look like for how the students are completing the assignments, as well as provide some reflection about what could have gone better the next time.
We're going to play. We're going to play with this piece. Miss Simmons is going to teach us, because then there's a week in December.
Right.
Actually, it's a week we come back.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit?
So we're sort of prepping or demoing, practicing what's called an hour of code, and it's held during Computer Science Week in December. And the purpose is to expose you to the world of computer science, especially for those of you that are the chicks in here. The percentage of females in the programming or computer world, they're very, very small, but can be very, very lucrative. Actually, the top white hat good hacker at Google is a chick. I think she's like the hacking princess is her title at Google or something like that. But at any rate, so the purpose of the Hour of Code in December is to expose you or get you aware of opportunities that are out there, as well as how much fun coding can be. So my purpose here today is to really demo it, practice it. I've not held an hour of code on my own because I don't have a classroom. I'm the technology integrator, so I teach the teachers how to use technology. It's downright scary sometimes. So the purpose of today is to demo or work with you guys through an hour of code. So first off, if you have your laptops, if you can go to this link, I'm hoping that it works, but the link will let you join into our class on code.org. And we're just going to be doing a very simple exercise today. Bryce, you will likely whip through it in no time.
Good, then you can help the rest of it when you do it after.
So as you guys are working on that, something that I do want to share is that something to keep in mind for all this is ask 3 and then me. So ask 3 of your peers before you look to ask to the teacher, or in this case to me, for help on any of this. Okay, because some of you are going to pick up on this very quick, be able to get through it. Others, you might struggle, but I'm looking for you to look to your peers for help first. If you're a senior, then you know that sometimes asking your classmates how to do stuff is a lot quicker and easier than asking your teacher how to do stuff. And they might actually explain it better. So how's everyone doing getting on this? How are we making out? Anyone on it yet?
Yeah.
I had to do attendance first, so.
I'll excuse you then. Okay. So a little introduction about code.org. You don't have to have a membership or a login to their site in order to use their site, but if you are someone who after today is interested in coding, code.org is a great place to start. Today's activity is really simple and meant to not scare you. I'll tell you that I am a computer science dropout. I spent my first year of college struggling, really not understanding computer science at all. But activities like the one that we're doing today would have better prepared me for life as a programmer, because I just sort of jumped headfirst into really in-depth code that I didn't understand. But stuff like we're doing today is going to be nice and simple. So is everyone good? Everyone in as they're going to be, maybe? Not quite yet? Okay.
I have to tell my age. Oh,
You can lie. You can be 30. I'm 30.
I'm 18.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
All right, everyone just about in? We're getting there. Okay.
I'm in. Where you left off. Puzzle number 1.
Okay. So I'm going to queue up a little bit of an introduction video. You can see it on the page for this lesson that we're doing today, but I did want to show it because I think it's a good little introduction to how everything works. And assuming that the volume winds up working on this, then
At this point during my hour of code demonstration with the students, I showed a YouTube video that provided them with an introduction of what the hour of code was, as well as how to use the coding structure and the Blockly blocks. I provided a link right down there on how to get to the video for this particular tutorial that I did with this section. Keep in mind that if you choose to do a different lesson from the hour of code, usually underneath the directions on the left hand side is a link to a YouTube video that will provide the similar instructions for the different hour of code that you choose to do in your classroom.
Now let's get those pigs.
Oh boy.
all right, so on your screen, for those of you that have gotten in, you can just hit the continue button at the top. If you had headphones and you want to be able to listen to the Angry Bird words, then you can. It does, for those of you that have played Angry Birds before, it just makes all the little noises that the Angry Birds normally make. So feel free to use headphones. Keep in mind that whenever you are on any of the lessons, they're going to give you the Blockly look, but then you can also change it to see the code instead. And
What? Wait. You
when
the
you're-
blocks like the girl showed us?
Yeah, so
Or what?
so you're on Blockly. When you're using Blockly,
Okay.
like she was showing us,
Yeah.
it's going to show you the
Lock in those little block things.
yeah. So
right?
it shows you the code over here,
Yeah.
or it shows you the Blockly, but then you can also switch it to see the code. So like Bryce might enjoy being able to actually see what the code is doing. So this would be the JavaScript that's actually working.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Miss So doesn't.
Exactly. It doesn't. You struggle with it. Right. Okay. So again, remember, ask 3 and then me, and let's code.
Now that the students have started coding, as a teacher I would likely be doing the activity with them, although for the sake of argument, you should also look at doing the assignment yourself if you have time before the actual hour of code, so that way you know what the process is like. But as I said in the video, it should be Ask 3 and then me. So if you're doing it at the same time, that's perfectly fine. And the students would probably be more engaged, or have the potential of being more engaged with you, if they're seeing you struggle with the same things that they're struggling with. But that being said, on the code.org dashboard, what I really like is the ability to click on View Progress in order to see how the students were doing in class. So in this instance, this is one of the classes that I did, which is actually 2 different sections. But you'll see, looking through here, we can actually track how the students are doing on the hour of code progress, where they're struggling, where they stopped in some cases, what some of the lessons were that the students were in general struggling with. So this can be really helpful in order to gauge engagement, as well as to make sure that everyone is on task and working. When I did this lesson with the class, I actually noticed a few people, such as this student here, who had stopped working on the project pretty much right from the get-go. So that gave me an opportunity to re-engage her a little bit and to figure out from her what the issues were. It also gave us a good opportunity to talk about work ethic. Then if we look under the view stats, we can get an actual breakdown as to the number of levels that they've completed, as well as the number of lines of code that they've written. This was again another good teachable moment, because I found that some of the best coders that we had that had the fewest lines of code were actually some of the females in the group. And so it gave me a really good opportunity to talk to those individuals about how good of a career this may be for them, or at least for something for them to consider as they enter the workforce. Because so often the girls in the classes, it's easy to dismiss anything with computers as being something that they should be doing for a career. Now overall, I think that the whole process went really well. The second time that I ran the hour of code with the second section, it went really well. The kids were really engaged, and I wound up offering another section to do the Flappy Bird game the second time around. That's where you see Flappy over here for a second section. So that section was really well engaged. They were playing it the entire time through. So it's really going to be dependent on your students as to how engaged they are with the process. You may want to open it up to give them a few more options in terms of what they want to do, or gauge it a little bit more on what the skill levels or the interests are of the kids in the class. Overall, if I were to have my own classroom of students, I would easily envision doing the hour of code, and heck, since you don't have to do it next week, I could even envision doing it more often. At the high school level, you do have the extended home bases on Wednesdays, so this might be something for you to look at engaging your students in if you're interested in having them explore the world of computing beyond just the simple turn it on and do games. If you have any questions about the hour of code, or if you would like my help with the hour of code at all, then you can certainly get in touch with me through my website. If you go to simmonsclassroom.com and then click on Make an Appointment, I have lots of appointment times available next week during the hour of code week, and if you'd like help getting yourself set up on it, I am more than willing to help you with that. I've revised my booking process a little bit, so that way hopefully it's easier, and you can just scroll to next week and select any amount of time that you'd like to book me for. So you can just go in and then find a time that is available, any of the orange slots, and then book out as much time as you need. You can book up to an hour. If you'd like more than that, then certainly just let me know, because I am willing to do anything that I can in order to make this happen in your classroom. I hope that it helps and inspires you to do the hour of code in your own classroom.